What if I told you that the way you see your everyday life could change everything? From your relationship, your career, your health, your well-being, and even your success. So often we wait for the big moments to feel happy. The engagement, the promotion, the big birthday. We build up expectation in our mind that it's these big things that are making the biggest difference and are going to bring the biggest joy. But what if instead we actually put more emphasis and more priority on the everyday? And it's this idea of enjoying the moment that takes us to those big goals, because otherwise, if we're so focused on that point in the future, we're taking away from the happiness, the joy, the energy, the fulfillment that we experience on a day-to-day basis. And this is really where the concept of romanticizing your everyday comes into place. This idea that we can treat every day as something to feel really excited and fulfilled by. And I know it's a term that's thrown around a lot all over TikTok and social media, how to romanticize your everyday, but it's really about helping you to feel more joy on a day-to-day basis. And the reason why I'm such a big advocate for romanticizing your life is because it really helps our mind and our brain focus on the things to be grateful for in the now moment. It forces us to look for beauty, to notice small little glimmers of magic, to realize that actually so many things are working for us and that we can create joy from the smallest of things. And it sounds a little bit like airy-fairy and waffly, but I've done it myself intentionally for many years now. And honestly, I love it. It's a really great way of just making small things into bigger things, like making joy for yourself without relying on external factors or external situations to do that for you. And it can have such a ripple effect on so many areas that I didn't realize to begin with, that a lot of other people don't realize either. For example, things like your career, when you're intentional about your day-to-day life at work, you show up with more confidence and creativity, which is going to have a knock-on positive impact. Other things like your relationships, when you put that little bit of extra effort into the small details, your partner is going to feel that too. And you're then going to have a richer, deeper relationship. And even things like your health, your stress levels decrease, you attune more to the things that are going right, the things to be grateful for, and you can be more present in those activities, whether it's being more mindful during yoga, whether it's not listening to music during your run. All of those things help us to be present in the moment. And actually being present, the more we can be present, the more we're able to connect in with happiness and joy. So I want to give you 7 ways that you can start romanticizing your everyday without spending a penny. You can literally put into practice as of today that are going to help you feel more joy, more creativity, more fulfillment in your day-to-day. And make sure you stick around for number 7, because I think that's probably my favorite that completely transformed my mindset. Okay, number 1, we have create a morning ritual, not just a routine. Now, the key with this is something small and intentional that brings you joy in your morning. Now, this could be something like getting back into bed with a cup of tea and reading a few pages of your book. It could be sitting on your sofa, listening to a podcast that you really feel inspired by. It could be doing yoga and setting the candles or putting on a lovely playlist. It's a way of lifting your mood and connecting you with or aligning you with gratitude and joy and calm and peacefulness. And the way that you can think about this is, what's a word or what's a feeling that I want to align with on a regular basis? Is that joy? Is that calmness? Is that confidence? And then what's a ritual that you can incorporate within your morning routine that's going to cultivate that feeling? Because there are loads of studies that show that when we start our morning routine with intention, we actually boost our productivity by 53%. So think about one thing that you can do from now onwards that curates a ritual within your routine that makes you feel good. And don't worry about what other people are doing. Forget about the things that you've read that you should be doing. Just listen to that thing within you that says, actually, I would love to include that in my morning routine, and let's get going with it straight away. Okay, number 2 is all about romanticizing your walks or errands. Now, bear with me on this one, because so often, and I include myself in this, we see errands as annoying things that drain our energy, time wasting. Now, instead, what if we could romanticize those things? So when we go on those walks, being mindful of the things around us. What can we hear? What can we see? What new colors are there that maybe weren't there the day before? When we go on our errands, how can we make them into like a little bit of an adventure? Go a different route, listen to an amazing playlist, walk down the street with a little bit more confidence. Once again, this sounds a little bit cringy, but imagine that you were doing that. It's only going to make you feel better. And it takes away that feeling of, I can't be bothered, or, why do I have to do this? It all comes down to choosing how we feel. So go on a detour, walk through a park, choose a good playlist, and switch your mindset from, I have to do this, or this is a bore, or this is a pain, to let's create a mini adventure out of this. Okay, the third free way to romanticize your life is to make your space feel like a sanctuary. I love this one. There's so much research to show that the energy that we're surrounded by, the space that we're in, has a massive impact on our mindset and our well-being and our mental health. And once again, this is cost-free. So it could be as simple as rearranging a corner of your room. It could be changing up the light. It could be bringing in new items like plants or flowers or new scents into a room. Even things like changing the direction of your desk and your chair and sitting with a different view makes a massive difference. So what I want you to think about is, what's one area of your workspace or of your bedroom that you can change and shift up today? Is it a new reading spot? Is it bringing in new candles? Because our setup, the more intentional we are with the colors, the vibe, the ambiance in that room, the more focused, the more inspired, the more productive we're going to feel, because it's a space that we're going to feel so connected and safe in. And that's going to have a massive impact on everything else that we're doing in that space as well. Okay, number 4 for romanticizing your life a little bit more is expressing yourself through style. Now, what I mean by this is, when we show up each day dressing in a way that makes us feel good, it allows us, or it cultivates, a greater sense of confidence, self-worth, self-belief. And I can't remember who it was, some psychologist or podcast host that I listened to. She said, what we really want to be doing is dressing as if we're ready to speak on stage with Oprah. And actually by doing that, we bring in a little bit of glamour, a bit of glam, a bit of chicness, a bit of high vibe into our everyday. And it could be things like popping on some lipstick, spritzing some perfume, wearing like a little bit of bougie jewelry, anything that you already have, or creating a new outfit out of something that you've not worn before. That is a way of romanticizing our day, because it makes us feel great. It sets the stage for how we want the day ahead to go. And it also puts us into this headspace of, if Oprah did call and ask me to go for an interview, I would be ready. And that to me is confidence, empowerment, and really like a sense of we're living our best life. And that's what we're trying to do with all these different tips. Okay, so number 5 is romanticize the way you eat and drink. This is such a good one. It's really about making every mealtime feel like an experience of some sort. Use your nicest mug. Get out your best crockery and glassware. Have your juice or your morning smoothie in a champagne glass, because why not? And then it's about sitting down without distractions. So avoid the temptation of scrolling through your phone or watching something else that's mindless, and actually tune into that moment. Light a candle, put a playlist on, really think and feel about the foods that you are eating, being mindful and grateful for the food that you have, but making it into a really special occasion. This is something that I have started doing much more recently, but especially at lunchtime, I'll take the time to curate a lovely plate of food. I'll make sure that I've got my phone out of my sight, and I'll choose a podcast to listen to, or I'll maybe watch an inspiring TED talk, but I'll be really mindful of chewing my food, of making it look nice, of setting up a nice environment. You know, I've got my flowers in front of me, the window open, the sun streaming through. They're all little ways that make what can feel like quite a mundane, like autopilot part of our day into something a little bit more magical and special. Once again, it's a free way of elevating an everyday experience. Okay, number 6, the 6th tip for romanticizing your everyday. And this is a really good one. It's all around taking yourself on main character moments. So it's choosing one moment each week at a minimum where you are really acting like the main character in your life, because you are. You don't need a special occasion to do this. And it can be something like finding a new hike or a new walk near where you are. It can be finding a little park bench in the sunshine to journal. It's anything that feels a bit more abundant, that's doing something purely for you. Like, what is it that you would love to do, and how can you create those moments in your weeks? There's actually a lot of research to show how doing new things, even small ones, creates dopamine. And that dopamine acts as a way to provide motivation, happiness, and a sense of purpose in our everyday. So it doesn't need to be these grand gestures. As I say, it can be as simple as finding a new walk, going to a new park near you, taking the bus somewhere completely different, and walking through a neighborhood as if you're a tourist, like playing tourist in these locations. So I want you to think about one small thing that you can do this week that allows you to be the main character. Another one of my personal favorites is getting up to watch the sunrise. There's an amazing short walk near from where I live, and it's a really steep hill, and you have these most incredible skylines over London. And I remember doing it for the first time in the summer and going there in the morning. I took a flask of coffee with me and I watched the sunrise over London, and I felt like I was in a completely new city. I was doing something completely different, and that was completely free. But it was such a example of romanticizing my everyday, and I've really tried to do this regularly since. Okay, this final one is all around doing the things that you know your future self would be grateful for. And the examples that come to mind are things like giving yourself a blow dry, or changing your sheets, or putting on some perfume, or ironing your clothes. Those are all the things that in the moment we think, oh, I can't be bothered. But actually, those are the things that if we were living our best life, we would be doing. So putting fresh sheets on more regularly than maybe you can be bothered. Spending an extra 10 minutes to give yourself a blow dry. Doing the things that actually you know that once you've done, you'll be so thankful for. Because not only do we create rituals on doing these sorts of activities, but once we've done them, it elevates how we feel. We feel more put together. We feel more abundant. We feel like we've got our life, our shit together. It's these ideas that we want to be honoring time to do those things that we know are going to make us feel good. Another thing that I love doing, and actually this is something that was inspired by a cleaner that we have that comes every few weeks, and she always makes a bed like it's a hotel. She'll tuck in the sheets, she'll plump up the pillows, she puts the blanket on the bed in like a really lovely way. And every time I come up after she's been over, it feels like I'm in a hotel room. And it really has inspired me to put my room together to mimic that of a hotel room. So let me know, out of these 7 tips, which one you're going to try first. And I just want to remind you before we end this video, romanticizing your life is really so much more than just making your days feel nicer. It's a way of rewiring your mind and your brain to focus on the moments of gratitude, of the things that are going well for you, of helping you to feel more confident and like a greater sense of self-worth in the day-to-day, without relying on those big milestones that we can build up a lot of expectation around. So let me know which one you're going to try. I'd love to hear of other ways that you romanticize your everyday as well. I'm always looking for tips and recommendations, and perhaps I can create a video of what this looks like in practice. Let me know if that's something that you would enjoy. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments which habit you are going to try today that's going to elevate your everyday and romanticize your life a little bit more.